What's up, guys? It's MB Boxing, and I just finished up watching Artur Beterbiev versus Marcus Browne, and this was a 12-rounder for the unified WBC and IBF Light Heavyweight World Championship, and this fight was Friday, December 17th, from the Bell Center in Montreal, Canada, and this fight was broadcasted on ESPN, ESPN Plus, or on the ESPN app. And in this fight, Artur Beterbiev was able to get a 9th-round knockout victory over Marcus Browne. Leading up to the stoppage, I had the bout scored 77-74 in favor of Artur Beterbiev. And, in this fight, Artur Beterbiev was able to score 2 knockdowns in total. And just to break down some notable moments in the fight, early on, the first 2 rounds specifically, Artur Beterbiev was getting outboxed, and Marcus Browne looked excellent. He was moving around, bobbing and weaving, getting out of the corner, getting away from the ropes. And I think maybe those rounds were rounds that Beterbiev was figuring out Marcus Browne, because later on we obviously saw how Beterbiev did adapt, but still Marcus Browne had a very strong first 2 rounds. But then Beterbiev started to adapt, and my scorecard won every round from there on except the 8th round. And the 8th round was just a round where Browne came back from obviously getting dropped in the 7th, and I'll talk about that more later on, but he was just boxing pretty good on the outside, landed some nice shots coming off from the ropes, and tried to stay away from those ropes and the corner as well. So, in round number, I believe it was the 4th, both of them had a headbutt. It was an accidental clash of heads, and it caused a gash on the forehead of Artur Beterbiev, and a cut on, I believe, Marcus Browne's right eye. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But, both of them were pretty bad cuts, but Beterbiev was bleeding profusely, and, the referee and the doctor were really teasing a stoppage, and it'll go to the scorecards for a technical decision in every single round, really. And it looked like the fight was going to be stopped in, the 5th or the 4th round, right after the headbutt, but no, it wasn't. But then I heard some, audio from, the referee in the background of the sort of broadcast I was watching, and, they were talking about how it was his last round, the 9th round they were giving him, and then they were going to stop the fight because he was just bleeding too much. And if Beterbiev was going to continue bleeding like that, he'd pass out. He'd lose too much blood. So, Beterbiev started to adapt after that 2nd round, was sort of just coming forward, landing some nice shots, and specifically in the 5th round, Beterbiev was able to back up Marcus Browne on the ropes, land some nice flurries, and that was just where he was able to sort of get to him and break through Marcus Browne's high defense just by pinning him to the ropes and just throwing flurry after flurry. But then in the 7th round, like I mentioned earlier, Marcus Browne got dropped, and I believe it was actually from a left to the body at first when Marcus Browne was on the ropes. Beterbiev was throwing a combination. Then he went with a beautiful left to the body. I believe it was an uppercut that landed flush to the liver. Then he went with a right hand to the head, and then Marcus Browne took a knee right after those 2 shots. And it was a beautiful, I don't even know what you'd call it, combination. It was only 2 punches, but they were brutal punches that left uppercut to the body and that right straight to the head. So then, Marcus Browne got up from that, and there was a lot of time in that round, but he rebounded, obviously, looked better towards the end of it, but still, he was shaken up early on in that round. But then in the 9th round, Artur Beterbiev came forward, was trying to pin Marcus Browne to the corner or to the ropes, and it happened. And then, it was about a minute and a half into the round, give or take, somewhere around there. And then Marcus Browne was sort of on the ropes, getting hit with combination after combination. Beterbiev was going head, body, and then he landed, I believe, a flurry of shots to the head, a flurry to the body, then an uppercut that did put Marcus Browne down. And, Browne just stayed on one knee, didn't continue from there on, and the referee waved it off. So, Artur Beterbiev winning this fight by 9th round knockout, as I mentioned before. So, what is next for Artur Beterbiev successfully defending his world titles? I would like to see him fight Dimitri Bivol, who is the reigning WBA champion, maybe even fight the winner of, I keep wanting to see Artur Beterbiev fight, Joe Smith Jr., but Joe Smith Jr. has to fight Callum Johnson. Then he has to, if he gets past Callum Johnson, which he most likely will, then he has to fight Anthony Yarde. So I'm just going to leave actually the WBO on TBD to see what happens with those fights for that title. So I would just really like to see Beterbiev fight like a Canelo Alvarez, but I know Canelo Alvarez is also busy with these cruiserweight title fights he's getting in on, possibly fighting Mchunu or the current champion Lunga Makabu, and the winner of that fight will most likely fight Canelo. But so I would just really like to see Artur Beterbiev fight Dmitry Bivol, and they're both Russian fighters, and I know they do have that promotional barrier, one being with Top Rank, one being with the Zone, but still, I would like to see that fight happen, and I hope they could get it on. It'd be an excellent fight, and I would just love to see it. But as for Marcus Browne losing, I believe for the second time in his career, first ever time by knockout, I honestly don't know what's next for him. I think he'll probably have another comeback fight just like he did after losing to John Pascal fighting. I believe his name was Denis Grachev. He was a journeyman with like 12 losses and 20 wins. He got an easy win there on an undercard that was non-televised. So I think he'll do the same. Fight someone non-televised, a journeyman or whatnot, before getting a decent opportunity fighting someone in the top 10, top 15 in the light heavyweight division. So overall, Artur Beterbiev defeats Marcus Browne by knockout to successfully defend his unified WBC and IBF light heavyweight world titles. And yeah, that's really it. I'm MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.